the port today once again, and it's not as windy and as cold as it has been in the past. But I am down here because it's very men in uniform, and they've actually swapped their normal portside uniforms for their actual army uniforms. So gentlemen, who are you all?
Mark Verzi. I'm a Lance Bombardier Verzi in CVHQ. My day-to-day job is I'm a quayside supervisor on Trinity and FSR.
I'm Matt Connolly. I'm with the Army Air Corps. I'm a ground crew specialist. Mainly working out of Bury St Edmunds, Ipswich, but work from Watersham. And I'm a TCO down here in the port on both Trinity and FSR.
I'm Lance Corporal Andy Bickers. I'm with 202 Squadron in Ipswich, and we're a logistics squadron, fundamentally drivers, supply regiment. I'm also a regimental recruiter within my army role, and I'm an operations supervisor on the port here at Felixstowe.
So obviously you have your army lives and you have your port lives. How do you juggle it? I mean, who's the best person to sort of comment on that? How do you juggle sort of working here and going out on tour?
When with day-to-day training, basically we have to do it on our days off or we use our holiday to do it. Basically, depends because we all work shift work. The training days obviously fall usually during the week and at weekends. So basically, it's a case of juggling it really where we can.
And does that count as a holiday if you obviously take off time to do training? Holiday day?
We can get authorised absence, but some people use that and other people use holiday.
Holiday. And obviously families. Have you all got families?
Yes.
And how does that affect the families if you're working here and then all of a sudden you have to go off on tour?
They've got to be a little bit stronger, I think, than what we are. Obviously, with the time away that we spend, they've got to juggle their home life, their family lives around us being away on tour or away on exercises or whatever.
And how frequently do you go out on tour? I mean, is it something that you've done regularly in the last few years, obviously since Afghanistan?
My regiment deployed in 2011 last year. They did a 6-month tour, so there was about 25 guys from my territorial army regiment that attached to a regular army supply regiment. The next time my regiment deploys is in 2013, so there's a 2-year gap there. And the normal deployment for us would be a 6-month deployment to somewhere like Afghan. I haven't been on the last deployment, but I'm looking to probably deploy in 2013. Yeah.
Now, obviously, the roles that you play down at the port, are all your colleagues supportive? Obviously, your roles in the military, do they kind of are they all on board with you, or do you sort of find they find it unusual?
I think they actually support you. There's a good bit of banter between the people that you work with and obviously the people that know that you're reservists as well. A lot of the banter comes from ex-forces guys who actually work down here as well. So to actually see you in uniform this morning, then everything, well, it's supposed to be your day off, so what are you doing here in uniform? But, there's a lot of good banter, and I think there's a lot of respect and a lot of support from the guys as well.
Do you ever outrank any of your colleagues? Do you ever get to the point when you're a little bit more senior in the military than they were and you get a bit more banter going?
Well, it's interesting at work here because my squadron sergeant major is an operative on the Dooley terminal, so we almost sort of swap roles. When I'm at work, I'm in a supervisory position, and he's in that type of position in our army role. Doesn't affect us at all. We do, as Matt says, we do have a bit of banter about that. But I think the other thing to say about the territorial army and reserve forces in general is that the profile of them now, with what's gone on in Afghanistan and Iraq, obviously prior to that, the public are more aware of what the role that the TA does.
Because it never used to be something in the limelight, did it? It always used to be sort of like just they're the TA.
Yeah,
but now
it used
you
to
are
be
actually being called up for active service.
It used to be. There used to be a sort of a stigma to the TA. That it was a bit of a weekend club, that type of thing.
Drinking man's club for a weekend. Sort of thing.
And I don't. I think we're moving away from that. The guy. Mark and Matt have both deployed to Afghan. I'm yet to do that. I think the work that the reserve forces do alongside the regular forces has been recognised as good work. We're professional people when we do our job in the army, and we're rightly recognised for that, which is good.
I mean, while you're deployed as well, and while you do your PDT, your pre-deployment training, you're actually your training is exactly the same as on a regular basis. So you're not anything higher or lower than a regular soldier out there apart from rank. You go out there with the same skill set as what they are. You've got to be up to date with your skills as well, because there's no point in being there otherwise. But when it comes to your families and whatnot being back here, social networks and whatnot, that's where your friends, your family, that's where your all contact and everything is out there. So it's all good fun. It's good fun.
So how
as
long
well.
have each of you been involved in the TA? How long have you been involved?
I've been in the TA since 2001.
2001.
I left the regular army, had a year off, and then was approached to join CVHQ, which is the All Arms Artillery Pool based in London. So it's a specialist pool which I've been working there since, really. But to be fair, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the support of my family. So you know, it's mainly down to them, really.
Mainly down to them.
Yeah.
How long have you been involved?
As a reservist, I've been now since 2007, 8. Previous to that, I had a spell of about 6 years, 8 years, so, and then 15 years regular service before that as well. So it's the family support that counts. Then obviously the support you get here.
And I'm probably the newbie. I mean, I haven't had any regular army experience, but I joined in about 2.5 years ago. But the other thing that I would say about that, I joined at the age of 40. You know, I regretted not joining the army when I was younger. The TA has given me the opportunity to sort of fulfil that.
Sort of go into the TA?
Well, I had a number of people that were working for me that I was responsible for at the port. One of those deployed to Afghan with the RAF regiment in 2009. I reintroduced him back into the business, into his role after his deployment, and he was the same age as me. He was 40 at the time he came back, and I thought, well, if he's just done that, can I? You know, he had some pretty inspirational stories to tell, and I thought, am I fit enough? You know, I was, and that's what inspired me, really.
I think you just hit on another point is, how do you sort of cope with having gone out there? Because obviously you two have gone out there and come back to work. I mean, is it really something that's really difficult to do, or do you find yourself just switching on and just coming back?
It's a very strange transition from military life back into civilian life, and to be fair, it does take about a month to 2 months to sort of have that transition period. But the company are very good, i.e. they basically introduce like a program for you to sort of get back into your workplace, bring you up to date with any issues or training which you require for work, and then it's a basic gradual transition from there, and then it's basically then back to work.
Back to
really.
work.
Yeah. That is.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I believe we've got to go off and watch the Apache display, haven't we?
Yep.
All good fun.
believe so.
Thank you very much. Thank you.